Where I have so much anxiety, I have to be like, oh look, what's this? What's that over there? Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be continuing my Things I Learned in Therapy series, and I'll be talking about the distraction method that I use whenever I need to get away from my anxiety in my brain. It's good for having anxiety in a situation where you either can't control your anxiety, which is, pretty often, especially if you haven't used tools in a long time, like me, or where you can't necessarily just go through with it, or going through with it doesn't solve your anxiety. Or whenever it's irrational, so like having generalized anxiety disorder, because you can't always just get over it even if you know that it's not normal. You basically just need to decide if it's a reasonable scenario to use the tool, because it probably wouldn't be good for things like social anxiety, OCD, or panic disorder, because I'm not sure it would necessarily help. But of course, you have to decide that for yourself, and it depends purely 100% on the scenario. Also, if there's any concentration involved, obviously you can't distract yourself, because if it's in like a classroom scenario, you should be trying to pay attention, or that could even be another distractor. I don't know. Like I said, it's completely up to you. These are just what I think might help, or what's worked for me, or what hasn't worked for me. And some dangers you might want to look out for if you are going to be trying this tool is like dissociative disorder, I think it's called, where you put your mind somewhere else to deal with trauma you've had in the past and then use it as a regular coping method. It can become an unhealthy way to cope with anxiety because you just rely on avoiding it, and that doesn't always help because you're not dealing with your anxiety. I personally use it when I'm walking down hallways, which I have been trying more at school. If you are new or are not aware, I have anxiety with walking, which I know sounds really weird, but because I've had a few operations and a bunch of knee problems, I'm trying to get back into it, and it's really hard for me. Basically, why I use it when I'm walking is because I have really bad balance. And then when you combine bad balance with anxiety symptoms like shaking or sweating or dizziness, it kind of throws everything off even more, and I feel like walls aren't walls and the ceilings and floors are all just all over the place. Because you can't always control your physical symptoms, that's when I turn to distractions, because they are like mind versus mind, if you know what I mean. There are two ways that I do this. Sometimes, like after one of my operations, when I had to stand up for however long, even though it really hurt, and I had lots of anxiety, I would pick something in the room to focus on and just stare at until it was like everything that there was. Like, I would block everything else out, and because it was visual and it was right there, I was able to see it and concentrate on it. The other thing I do is sometimes easier for when I'm walking, because like I said, everything seems distorted in my mind and it's hard to look at something because then it throws me off balance completely. So I just think about something, and this is usually easier if it's an in-depth kind of thought, like a big thought. I don't know, I think about existential stuff and the universe all the time, so if I have any of those in my mind, as long as they're not terribly triggering for me, I will usually go to that. Or sometimes if I don't have one of those like readily available, I will just pick something, like literally anything, and think about it as if I actually care. But just something like basic and in your life, everyday sort of thing that's like just right there, and you think about it in depth as if that is what matters at the time. And it works because it puts you out of your current physical experience, so you can manage to either do the stressful thing that you're trying to do, or stop yourself from focusing on your anxiety completely and just making it worse. I must say though, it is very difficult, you have to practice, but as long as you make sure it's like the only thing that matters, and you basically make it as ridiculously important as your anxiety is making the current situation seem. I hope that made sense. I tried to explain it. I actually wrote out a script because even though I don't have a lot of time for videos lately due to schoolwork and stuff, I still want to put out good content, and I feel really bad just making lame videos that mean nothing. The sound quality should be better because I'm back to the old way that I was recording. I hope this was informative and you learned something. I don't know. Thank you for watching. Bye!